Greetings and salutations, everyone! This is Amethyst Dragon Gaming, and I'm your host, Dread the Amethyst Dragon. Welcome to What We Know So Far, Pokemon Sword and Shield Edition, number 2! Oh my goodness, I have been gone for far too long, and far too much has happened. In fact, I know E3 is going on right now as I'm recording and editing this, and I'll have to include it at the tail end of the video just to try to get this out by Saturday. So what I do have and what we are going to cover at the first part of this video until E3 is done is the two videos, the one that shows the gameplay, the Dynamax and all that, and then the one where it showed the two legendaries that we'll talk about. And then we're also going to talk about Pokemon Direct, a bunch of tweets I found from Nintendo of America and from Pokemon Company itself, and then there was some info released by developers here and there. Now, I know there has also been a lot of Reddit stuff going on with leaked information and stuff like that, where people are saying, hey, I work there and I'm secretly giving out this information. I'm not going to go on that just yet. It's a little too early for me to start listening to that stuff, and a lot of it may end up being true, but chickens before they hatch, you know? Unlike my last video on What We Know So Far, Pokemon Sword and Shield Edition, I said I was going to make no assumptions then. This time, I saw how awful I was at that, so I'm just going to throw that out the window. Assumptions will probably be made. However, I'm going to keep them at a minimum. Now, that all of that is out of the way, we're going to watch the two videos. You'll see the first video, then this logo that you're looking at right now will come back up, and then the next video will load. holy cow, that looked amazing. I'm pretty hyped for that, just based on what I've seen there. That looks amazing. Of course, as with me, I've always got something to complain about, so I did see a few things worth noting. Both good and bad, don't get me wrong. It definitely has good points. It definitely has some things I'm concerned about. So let's go over those real quick. We're going to break down this video. I've got the audio off so you don't have to fight to what you're listening to. And I'll have a little bit of background music here. Okay, let's go ahead and kick that. There we go. That should do. All right. So let's move it to 09. All right. So here's your rival. And throws out Sobble. And you throw out Grookey. Comparatively, there you go. There's the lineup of it. That right there, your rival threw out his first, then you threw out yours. So they're continuing the theme of Generation 7 or Sun and Moon or Usum, whichever. I'm going to use the generation numbers. It's easier. So Gen 7. Just like Gen 7, they're going to continue the trend of you have the advantage over your trainer. I know some people may be upset about that, but please remember that this is basically a kid's game, and for us veteran players that are older, our end game is tournament level, battle spot, and whatever the end game features. So just be patient with the easier storyline. If you care about the storyline, you shouldn't care about how hard the game is. If you want to make the game harder on yourself, make limitations for yourself. Now, some people say, well, you shouldn't have to do that, the game should make hard mode and all that. Normally, I agree. But this is a kid's game. And there's just a bunch of us adults that happen to also enjoy it because there's nostalgia and it's just a really good universe. We're going to talk about who your rival is later, by the way. But right now, we're gonna skim over him. So, we're going to leave the frame right here for just a second. I did almost forget to mention this. I apologize. This was mostly confirmed with the first video. But I wanted to additionally confirm it right here and just concrete. Look at Grookey's right hand here. Paw. It's probably more accurate, right? Paw. He is absolutely using a stick as a weapon. And I'm starting to get on board with Grookey is going to be modeled after the Monkey King. Alright. We're going to move up to 42 seconds. Oh, okay. I remember what this is. Alright, this might just be me. It could just be an error. It could be an oversight in the code. As this video shows, this entire thing is game footage, not final. So maybe this was just an oversight. Maybe this was something like, hey, we got to skip on this real quick just to get out the demo or something like that. But watch the trainer in this one, specifically the Pokeball in his right hand. It didn't rotate. I know, it's petty. I know. But here's why that concerns me. If they're having... If there's a reason, there's a reason. And I will totally backtrack all of this if there's a reason. However, if they missed that, even though it's such a small detail, if they missed that this early in the leaks, it concerns me about game stability. Because this is a new system they're not used to. Now, granted, they did do Let's Go, but that is different from this core game. They have said that Let's Go was not a core game, while this is. Alright, here we are at 105. Sorry about the jump there. I got a message on my phone. It made a bit extra noise. I didn't want you guys to have to deal with that. Anyway, the reason this is paused right here is simply because of Mudsdale. It just confirms that Alola Pokemon are here. It doesn't seem that Alola forms will be, at least not that I've noticed yet. Maybe I'm blind. That's entirely possible. But at least some of the Alola Pokemon will be here. Kind of figures Mudsdale would be here because he was featured a lot in competitive. Hopefully some of the non-competitive ones will be here as well, because some of them, Togedemaru, are absolutely adorable. 125. Okay, here's our next one. Play. This is such a big Gyarados. Oh my gosh. And he absolutely annihilates. Sorry, I jumped the gun there a little bit. There we go. There's a good shot of Raichu. Alright. This is why I don't think they're going to evolve into a Lola form, at least for a while. Maybe they will in the end game, but in the beginning stages you won't, because he's not surfing on his tail. He is very clearly good old-fashioned Gen 1 Raichu. That is an assumption. I will admit that is an assumption that we will not have a Lola forms right off the bat. But here's my reasoning as why, like I showed you here. Okay, I don't want to dwell on that too much. I just wanted to show you that. I'm gonna skip over all this Dynamax stuff, by the way, because Pokemon and the Nintendo of America's tweets covered a lot of Dynamax stuff, and I'm just gonna give all the Dynamax information there instead of spreading it out in 5 different places. So forgive me if that's confusing, but I think it will be better in the long run. Okay, we're going to move to 210 now. Okay. This is another one of those small things, but this is a good one, not a bad one like a Pokeball spin. I don't know if you guys noticed this or not. See that? See that? That's a Rotom referee, a Rotom Re, or a Rotom GoPro, or some other horrible joke about Rotom, and I really like that. I love Rotom. He's in my top 30, and I'm absolutely blown away by that. Oh my gosh, he's so adorable. I love it. He's in his little quadcopter drone thing. He's squeezable. Well, he would electrocute the snot out of me. I love it. I want more Rotom functionality in Pokemon universe. He is so cute. All right, now that I'm done exploding from the inside out, I really like that they're using Rotom as a technological advancement, and he's finding a role in the world. Hopefully they're not all annoying like the last one in Sun and Moon was, because that rivaled Navi. But I am glad to see that he is getting a technology role, and it shows how technology is improving via Pokemon in the Pokemon universe. It's really cool to see that. Okay, so what we're going to do now, those are all the video segments I wanted to show. Everything else is actually a screenshot. And then you'll see the screenshots I'm talking about loaded onto here, and we will discuss what I want to discuss about them. Alright, so here's the first one. Sobble with hearts all around. I am hoping and assuming, and have good reason to believe, that this means that Pokemon Refresh, and I think it was called Amio or something like that in Gen 6, but it was Refresh in Gen 7, will be in the game. I really want to pet my Umbreon, my Tenebris. Really want to pet him in the new game. What we have suspicions of, what the Pokemon community has suspicions of, is if you look at that tent in the background, it looks like, and from some things we found out, that you will be able to go up to these tents, and that will be how you interact with your Pokemon. You'll go into the tent, pick the one you have, whether or not that's all your Pokemon or just what you have with you, and you'll be able to play around with them, hang out, chill out. I don't know if it'll progress the day or time, or probably not, but you will be able to interact with them. So I'm hoping it's the same level as Pokemon Refresh, maybe with more benefits. I would honestly like to see more benefits. Alright, so moving forward, I've got 2 screenshots here that I'm going to put up side by side. Here's the first. Here's the second. Okay. More of those strange markings. And again, like I said in my first video, it may be nothing. It may be absolutely nothing. But it's just strange to me. It could be just random rocks. It could be irrelevant. It could be relevant. It could be part of the backstory. Just part of the background scenery. Part of the main story. Lore clues. Hints at the villain. Hints at a third game that we'll probably never get, like all other generations. If I'm being honest, it's probably just something in the lore. But we'll have to find out. I know I said I wouldn't talk about Dynamax very much, but I do want to mention this briefly with this screenshot. Max Raid Battles. A Max Raid Battle Gathering Hub It'll most likely activate when one or more people walk up to it and hit activate. I don't see a reason why one person wouldn't be able to do it, but we don't have any proof of that. That's another assumption. You can for sure do it with 4 people. I just don't know if you can do it with less. But you would go up to this hub, you would use your use action button, and it would put you into this little pocket universe, or dimension, basically, and you would do the Dynamax battle there. A little bit more on the Dynamax. Here's this screenshot. The Dynamax Band, that is the official name of it. You will see that in the tweets later. The female player used her Dynamax Band to Dynamax her Raichu. We do know that you're going to be able to Dynamax really early on. Now we're going to cover just the couple things I got out of the Pokemon Direct. So what we got out of it was just 2 screenshots. The first one here shows the basic battle menu we're going to get. What it looks like when you're about to select your move and whatnot. And we even get to see what the Dynamax button looks like. It's very simple. It's very clean. It doesn't cover a bunch of the screen. It doesn't half the screen like some people were afraid of. It looks really nice. Very simplistic. There's beauty in simplicity. And then if we move to the next one, we can see what it's going to look like after you select the Dynamax button with that moveset. You get Max Lightning, Max Guard, Max Knuckle, and Max Strike. Now, I don't know if all Protect moves, so Protect, Detect, Light Screen, Reflect, if all those always become Max Guard regardless, if all fighting moves are always Max Knuckle, so on and so forth. I don't know if that's how it works or not. We're not sure about that just yet. But this is what it gave us so far. And as brief as that was, that's all we really have for Pokemon Direct. Alright, at long last, we're at the Twitter portion of this. So the first one here, I mean, it says everything you need to know about this. This is your neighbor Hop. He's the younger brother of Leon, the champion. He's the guy with the Charizard in the original video that we watched. This is his younger brother. He is going to be your rival. He's the one we saw that he's going to start with the starter that's at a disadvantage to yours. Hopefully he's smarter than the Gen 7 one, because I really didn't like how he was portrayed as kind of not intelligent. He wasn't portrayed as dumb by any means. He was just portrayed as being kind of doofy, I guess is the best way to say it. The next couple screenshots just give a basic synopsis of who each character is. Here's Milo, the grass-type gym leader. He's most likely one of the first gym leaders, if not the first. And then we get to see Sonia, I hope I'm saying that right, daughter of Professor Magnolia, and also her assistant. She is stated as having a key role in our adventure, but we're not sure what that means just yet. And of course we have Professor Magnolia herself. She's the Galar region expert due to her study in the field of Dynamax. I love her little cane, just as a side note. It's a very nice touch from the developers. I really like her look and her appearance. She definitely gives off the air of, I'm very intelligent and I have earned my position. I really like her character just from what little we've seen. And then the last of the character reveals is Leon himself. He's the current champion. It is said his strong Pokemon and shining personality has made him into a Galar region celebrity. Of course, we're going to ruin that for him and enjoy it. Now here's some actual meat and potatoes tweets. And you can pretty much see who these are from. The Dynamax phenomenon is an integral part of Pokemon battles in the Galar region. These Pokemon get certain stat boosts, and we don't know how that's determined, and will return to normal after 3 turns. So we only get 3 turns of Dynamax. 3 turns of Dynamax and the max moves, so it's really kind of like Mega and Z moves got mushed into one. Maybe that'll be better, maybe it won't, we'll have to see. Alright, next one is, you can join up with people near you to participate in max raid battles, but you can also connect to Pokemon trainers around the world and face Dynamax Pokemon together. So that's just going to be, local wireless or infrared or something like that with the Switch, or however the connectivity works. I actually don't own one yet, I had to get one for this game. Or you can just connect online like we always could have, which is what everyone's going to do anyway. Naturally, the Dynamax phenomenon is the topic of much research in the Galar region. A special item known as the Dynamax Band, that's how we know the name, is the product of these findings. Only trainers who possess a Dynamax band are able to Dynamax their Pokemon. So, I mean, that's not terribly crucial, but it just shows why we know the name. Additional info we've discovered about Dynamax is you can only Dynamax your Pokemon in specific locations. And we've learned that this is the max raid battles, gym battles, and most likely competitions where it's allowed. So if there's a battle tree or anything like that, it'll most likely be in there. And you can only Dynamax your Pokemon once per battle. Again, just like Mega Evolutions and Z moves. In the Galar region, in Pokemon Sword and Shield, Pokemon battles are regarded as the most popular form of entertainment, and large crowds gather to watch exciting gym battles. In your quest to become champion, take on the Pokemon gyms to reach the pinnacle of the Pokemon League. So they're going back to gyms. That's very good. I'm very happy to see that. I didn't really like the whole trial thing. It was a nice break, but I didn't want it to stick. One quick thing real quick that wasn't in a tweet, but we know is confirmed, is that max raid battle Pokemon, the enemies that is, they will be permanently Dynamaxed for the whole game until you take them out. They're not going to get only 3 turns like we will. But you're going to have up to 4 people, so that shouldn't really be a problem. I would be surprised if the match lasted 12 turns. If you look at this screenshot, and from some of the other information we know, Corviknight is the regional taxi Pokemon, similar to Charizard in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. And I'm down for that, considering just how cool this little screenshot here is, and the fact that HMs were never really a good thing. Alright, and this one says, about the Pokedex and Rotom Phone, any Pokemon that you find or catch during the adventure will have its information registered in the Pokedex. The Pokedex in these titles will actually be part of your Rotom Phone. Your Rotom Phone is also home to Rotom. Funnily enough, how that works. A Pokemon that can enter your various electric appliances, and your Rotom Phone can do a lot more than serve as a Pokedex. For example, you can attach it to your bike to make it move faster on land and can even help you travel over water. Professor Oak is somewhere having an aneurysm at that sentence. The wild area can be reached through various towns and cities, and it seems the Pokemon you'll run into changes depending on the weather and or location. While in the wild area, you can control the camera freely to explore around you and search for Pokemon and items. This is also where we see Tyranitar, Rhydon, a couple of the others just wandering and lumbering around. Apparently, this is the only area this will happen in, and that's not normal for other areas of the game. You'll find a greater variety of Pokemon living here than anywhere else in the Galar region. The Pokemon you'll run into will change depending on things like the weather or the location, so you might see something new each time you visit. I really hope they emphasize the greater variety on that. I would love to see it change vastly each time, but we'll see what happens. The final tweet is from Pokemon themselves, and it says, in tall grass or caves, battles with wild Pokemon will occur when you run into the Pokemon that you can see wandering around, or if you walk into the exclamation point icon. I cannot say this with confidence because I have not played the demo that the people at E3 have. But from the sounds of that, it sounds like you're not going to get just a random blindsided encounter. You're going to know you're about to get hit with something because you're going to see the exclamation point or you're going to see it walking around. I actually kind of hope that's not the case because I like the randomness of it. But we'll just see. Alright, now we're going to talk about the individual Pokemon that we have learned about so far. First up, we have Dreadnought, the Bite Pokemon, who shares his category with Poochyena and Mightyena. His entry says, the sharp, jagged fangs of the Bite Pokemon Dreadnought are sharp enough to bite through rock and iron. He is known to be extremely vicious and takes a skilled trainer to tame and handle his Pokemon. So here's a basic rundown of everything for Dreadnought. He's going to be 4 times weak to grass, 2 times weak to ground, electric, and fighting. He's going to half resist normal flying, poison, and ice. And he's going to take a quarter damage from fire. Overall, not bad, but not great either. He's going to get slaughtered because all of those that he's weak to are really... they're really common. At least they used to be. I know things are going to change a little bit. And in the original video, we actually saw a Grookey fighting him. So that makes me think that you're going to encounter him fairly early, which means most likely his stats are not going to be that great unless he evolves. because usually things you encounter early are not the strongest. They can be, but not always. And if you combine that with his type weaknesses, I don't see him going very far. I want him to go far. He's probably going to be on my team because he's basically an alligator snapping turtle. I want him to do great, but right now I just don't see it. His abilities are Strong Jaw, which gives plus 50% damage to Bite, Crunch, and all of the Elemental Fang moves. His other ability is Shell Armor, which just makes him immune to criticals. That's all it does. If someone lands a critical hit on him, it just reverts it to normal damage. Moving on to Corviknight, the Raven Pokemon. Corviknight is said to be the strongest Pokemon living in the skies of the Galar region. Corviknight possesses superb flying skills and high intelligence. Because of this, many work for the company called Galar Taxi, helping transport people from town to town. I am paranoid about the words strongest Pokemon living in the skies. Either he's really good or the rest are really bad. That could go either way. But I like the fact that he's basically the HM Fly move. I'm curious if it actually costs, because they use the word taxi, or not. But with his elemental combination, exactly that of Skarmory's, he will be 2 times weak to fire and electric. He will take half damage from normal, flying, steel, psychic, dragon, and fairy. Whew, that's a lot. And he will take 1/4 damage from grass and bug, and will be straight out immune to poison and ground. That is a very solid defensive typing, but I fear for it, the same that I do Dreadnought, that despite its Dex entry, that it's going to be kind of weak because you see it earlier on. Additionally, based on it being the taxi service, and it's kind of been seen here and there flying around everywhere, I'm pretty sure that's not going to evolve. It's going to be just, it is what it is. But either way, it has 2 abilities. Pressure, which makes all of your opponent's moves cost twice as much power points to use. And then Unnerve, which means your opponents can't eat berries. That could be very useful in competitive, as long as his stats hold up. That will be the important thing, of course. Ooh, boy. Wooloo. The sheep Pokemon. Meet Wooloo. The white fur of this Pokemon is used for clothing and carpets and is a specialty product of the Galar region. They dislike conflict, and if they need to escape from enemies, they will just simply roll away. Adorable. He's just a regular old normal type, which means he's weak to fighting and immune to ghost. Pretty standard typing, really, but he is an absolute adorable fluff ball. I certainly hope it either has good stats or evolves to be even more adorable and has amazing stats, because everybody loves this thing. He'll have one of 2 abilities that will either be Fluffy, which means he takes half damage from direct contact moves, but in exchange takes double damage from fire type moves, or the standard runaway move, which guarantees a runaway from wild Pokemon. I'm going to try my best not to butcher the following 2 names, but I'm probably going to. Gossifleur, the flowering Pokemon. It shares its category with Lilligant. Gossifleur, the flowering Pokemon. It shares its category with Lilligant. It prefers lands with clean water and clean air. Its pollen is said to have healing effects. It travels over long distances by getting blown along by the wind, and can control the direction of its travels by twisting its body and petals, somewhat like a sail. Its typing is pure grass, so it'll just be weak to flying, bug, poison, fire, and ice, and it'll take half damage from ground, water, grass, electric. There's not too much to say about that. It's pretty standard grass type, which is a decent type. He is very small and very cute. It'll have one of 2 abilities that will either be Cotton Down, which decreases the speed of attacking Pokemon, or Regenerator, which gives it back 1/3 of its health whenever you switch it out. Additionally, this is the only Pokemon where we know what it turns into when it evolves, and that is Eldegoss, the Cotton Bloom Pokemon. When Gossifleur evolves into Eldegoss, its head becomes covered in thick cotton fluff, which helps protect its head from damage. The tiny seeds attached to the cotton fluff are said to be highly nutritious and beneficial to both people and Pokemon. Of course, it's just a standard old grass type again. So, again, it's weak to flying, bug, poison, fire, ice, and resistant to ground, water, grass, electric. And of course, its abilities are the same as its unevolved form. Now we get to the starters. The water lizard Pokemon. Sobble is a bit timid, and if it feels threatened, it will cry and cause everyone nearby to start crying as well. Its tears are said to have the same strength as 100 onions, meaning it just makes you cry a bunch when you get around them. Being a pure water type, it's weak to grass and electric only, so pretty good in that regard. But it resists steel, fire, water, and ice. Water is already a decent type, but its Pokedex entry really makes me think that it will either become highly defensive or highly utilitarian, but we'll have to wait and see. Its ability is the standard water starter ability, Torrent. When it reaches a third HP or lower, all of its water type moves will receive a 50% damage buff. Scorbunny, the rabbit Pokemon. It shares its category with Bunary and Lopunny. Scorbunny uses its powerful legs to run and jump around its opponents. The soles of its feet can become very hot, so watch out for those kicks. Being a pure fire type, it receives 2 times damage from ground, rock, and water. However, it resists bug, steel, fire, grass, ice, and fairy. So there's a few resistances there. Oh, Scorbunny. You hold the hopes and dreams of many a trainer. Will you be a fighting type? Will you be a pure fire type? What will your third evolution hold for us? Hopefully it won't be a fighting type, because I can't think of anyone I've talked to so far that wants that to happen. But the way things are looking, and the way his dex entries read, and the way he moves around in the world, kind of looks like we're going to have another Litten situation here where it's just going to go south for us. Try to remain positive, everyone. Hopefully they won't do it to us again. Its ability is the standard fire starter ability, Blaze. When it reaches a third or less health, it receives a 50% damage buff to all fire type moves. And finally, Grookey, the chimp Pokemon. The stick held by Grookey was originally a branch from the forest where troops of Grookey used to live. It gained special powers after being exposed to the energy within Grookey's body. Being a grass type, he will be weak to flying, bug, poison, fire, and ice. However, he will resist ground, water, grass, and electric. And like I've said before, grass is another grass type, is another grass type. Seen a lot of those, but we usually do. My only comment here is that I really hope he doesn't turn into the Monkey King or a Saiyan. Both of those would be really weird. His ability is the standard grass type starter ability, Overgrow. When he hits a third HP or less, his grass type moves receive a 50% damage buff. Alright, E3 is finally over, guys. We got to see a bunch of gameplay and stuff like that that gave us more information, more Pokemon that we can expect to see. Not new ones, just older generation Pokemon. And then we got 2 bits of news. I personally am very upset at the first bit of news, and it took me a minute to deal with the second bit of news. The one that I'm really upset about, from Generation 8 onward, there will no longer be a national Pokedex if we understand Mr. Masuda properly, which I believe we have. A lot of us had suspicions that this day would come where Pokemon would become too numerous for its own good, and apparently they decided that the number nearly 1,000 was too much, and they said this is the best time when going from Gen 7 to 8 and upgrading consoles. This is the best time for them to downsize, and from now on, whatever Pokemon are native to that region will be in that game and nothing else will be. That being said, I really want to caution everyone right now. If you have one of your favorite partners in Pokemon Bank or any of the other games, do not put them in Pokemon Home unless you know for a fact that they will be able to be transferred to Generation 8. The reason for that is if you transfer it from Ultra Sun, it goes into the Pokemon Home, which is the new bank feature, and it can't go to Generation 8, you won't be able to take it back to Generation 7. It will be stuck in limbo until a game gets made where it's in there. So keep them in Bank or in Generation 7 until you know what's going on. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave everything in Generation 7 until I know if it can be transferred. If it can, it'll go up. If not, I will leave it there for safekeeping. So just everyone, please be careful. Don't stick your favorites in limbo where you can't play them for a couple years. Oh my gosh, that would be so terrible. The other bit of news we got is that they will not be including Mega Evolutions nor Z moves in upcoming games. Considering the backlash that both of those got, I'm not terribly surprised by that. And honestly, it looks like Dynamax is kind of combining those anyway, so I think we'll be okay. Initially, I was upset by that, but once I started to think about it, yeah, I think this is a lot better because it does allow people to use unpopular favorites. Alright, here we are at last, folks. The very last section of the video. I'm going to list off, in Pokedex order and by generation, every Pokemon that we know for a fact, 100%, we have seen it in the game, of which Pokemon is included in Generation 8 as of right now. Of course, things can change, but this is what we know so far. So starting with Generation 1, we have Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard, Caterpie, Metapod, Butterfree, Pikachu, Raichu, Clefairy, Clefable, Vulpix, Ninetales, Diglett, Dugtrio, Growlithe, Arcanine, Machop, Machoke, Machamp, Ghastly, Haunter, Gengar, Onix, Rhyhorn, Rhydon, Goldeen, Seaking, Magikarp, Gyarados, Eevee, yes, Vaporeon, Jolteon, Flareon, Snorlax, and Mew. Now again, more may be included, but that's some of the ones we know about so far. Alright, moving on to Generation 2. This list is a bit shorter. We have Hoot Hoot, Noctowl. I always get this name wrong, I'm sorry. It's Pokedex entry number 170. Chinchou, I think. Lantern, Pichu, Cleafa, Togepi, Togetic, Wooper, Quagsire, Espeon, Umbreon, Wobbuffet, Steelix, Sneasel, Mantine, Larvitar, Pupitar, Tyranitar. Generation 3, Lotode, Lombre, Ludicolo, Wingull, Pelipper, Ralts, Coralia, Gardevoir, Electrike, Manectric, Rosalia, Wailmer, Wailord. Oh, that's going to be a big boy with Dynamax. Trapinch, Vibrava, Flygon, Feebas, Milotic, Duskull, Dusclops, Why Not, Snorunt, Glalie. Generation 4, Badoo, Roserade, Combee, Vespiquen, Drifloon, Drifblim, Bronzor, Bronzong, Munchlax, Riolu, Lucario, Hippopotas, Hippowdon, Mantike, Snover, Abomasnow, Weavile, Rhyperior, Togekiss, Leafeon, Glaceon, Gallade, Duxnor, Frostlass. Generation 5. Roggenrola, Boldore, Gigalith, Timpole, Palpitoad, Seismitoad, Sawk, Trubbish, Garbodor, another one I get wrong, Mincino, Cincino, Vanillite, Vanillish, Vanillux, Frillish, Jellicent, Joltik, Galvantula, oh you beautiful spidery boy, I'm glad to see you, Axew, Fracture, Hexorus, I'm glad my shiny one won't be wasted, Golett, Golurk, Rufflet, Bravery, Dino, Zuelos, and Mr. Wrecked by Fairy type himself, Hydreigon. Generation 6, Bunnelby, Diggersby, Pancham, Pangoro, Meowstic, Swirlix, Slurpuff, Inkay, the Totem Killer Malamar, Sylveon, Halucha, Goomy, Sliggoo, Goodra, Bergmite, Avalugg. Generation 7. Grubbin, Charjabug, Vikavolt, Wishy-Washy, Mudbray, Mudsdale, Stuffle, Beware, Vonsweet, Stenie, Serena, Wimpod, Golisopod, Mimikyu. Generation 8. Meltan, Melmetal, Grookey, Scorbunny, Sobble, Gossifleur, Eldegoss, Wooloo, Dreadnought, Corviknight, the legendary Zacian and Zamazenta. And then we got 2 new reveals for E3, Yamper and Impidimp. That's all of them. That's everything. I know that was quite a few. Thank you for bearing with me. Ladies and gentlemen, that is finally going to conclude this very long video. If you managed to stick it with me through the entire video, I want to express my appreciation and just say thank you for hanging in there with me. With that said, thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you guys in the next video.